They had the entire road lined both sides with American flags. I imagine that will be an area where President Donald Trump comes through and meets with people. The damage from this tornado is really just unbelievable to see in person. If you look at this van, you can see that the windows, they were blown out when the tornado came through. And if you walk over here and look at the home, you can see that this home, it was just completely leveled. I am told by the EMA director that up that way is where the 18-wheeler was blown over on its side, and there's also more homes that are damaged up this way. I will tell you, this is a populated area. There are homes, a line of homes just right off here. Behind the camera, we have two churches. We know it all started with that surveillance video inside of a convenience store in Auburn, and now it seems to have led us here to Shorter, Alabama, in a wooded area off of County Road 2. He tells me that they will be out here for a long time tonight, maybe through the night, and he said they will be in this area for the next few days. While the city is marking the 435th demolition today, the work is not done. The city has already identified even more properties that still need to be demolished. I do want to show you this, Daryl. If Sylvester shows you over here, we actually have people who are starting to line the road as they do wait for Sheriff Williams' body to be brought back out here. Montgomery School Board President Claire Wheel here with us to give us a little bit more information about this. Let's just start off. It's the third day of school, just a very tough situation and scary morning for parents. Walk over here with me. You can see a fan right here, a door from the house, other household supplies, and look at that. That's their air conditioning unit. It was picked up, flipped over, and then just thrown against this house.
And you hear it over and over. When severe weather hits, get to your safe place. And if you live in a mobile home, get out and move to a safer, more sturdy building.
But what if there are no shelters close to where you live? Andrew James has more in his I-Team Extra Seeking Shelter.
We focused on Elmore County, where there are 21 safer place shelters. Now, these are places you can go during a tornado watch if you don't feel safe in your home. But unfortunately, that number does not cover the whole county, and some people are left with nowhere to go, exposing what may be a bigger problem across the state. Wetumpka on January 19th, Lee County on March 3rd.
Picked our house up, flipped it over. Everything was on top of us.
Titus on March 14th and Troy on April 14th. It's already been a very active severe weather season in Alabama.
There's no place real close for shelter other than your home.
It's a scary reality for Debbie Lance. She says she feels safe in her home near Lake Martin, but knows others aren't so lucky.
There's more homes being built now, but there are quite a few mobile homes. You know, it's the way people like to live.
The EMA director says that here in the Red Hill community, the closest safer place is 15 minutes away. That means for people who live here, they'll have to get inside of their car, and then they have to drive 15 minutes down the road to get to the closest safer place, which is here at the Eclectic Police Department. EMA Director Keith Barnett tells me the Safer Place shelters open during a tornado watch. These are not long-term shelters, but places for people to go if they don't feel safe at home.
Buildings that are much more sound structurally. Some of them have basements, but they are a much safer place for people that don't feel secure in their home.
All of the safer places are listed on the Elmore County EMA website with an interactive map. If the icon is red, the shelter is closed. Green means it's open. You'll notice there's not one near Lake Martin.
Out here in the country, there's not really a lot of safe spots.
Keith Murchison lives down the road from where an EF2 tornado hit Titus and surrounding areas in Elmore County. He tells me he left his home because he doesn't think it's safe during a tornado.
This is a wood frame structure, and in a tornado, it could just be devastated.
This is another part of the county that has no safer place up until now.
After the storm hit, kind of becomes even more real.
New Home Baptist Church is the newest safer place. Pastor Matt Nixon says he and the congregation knew they had to answer the call after seeing the damage in their community. He showed me the basement, which will serve as a shelter when it's needed.
We rely on something greater, and then he's given us this building, he's blessed this church with it. We want to use it for whatever we can use it for.
And EMA Director Barnett hopes New Home Baptist Church is the first of many new safer places. He's asking anyone willing to open their building during severe weather to contact his office.
You're willing to allow people into your building, open it up when there's severe weather, be there to support them. You know, we're willing to talk to you.
And if you're interested in opening a Safer Place shelter, the EMA director will come look at your building to make sure it is indeed a safer place. And since these are all run by volunteers, Barnett tells me that sometimes these shelters aren't able to open during severe weather, once again leaving people with nowhere to go. Too many gunshots to count. Surveillance video at a home in Cloverdale captured the rapid gunfire from streets over. This keeps going for almost 30 seconds. This all happening just before 7 Saturday night near the intersection of Woodley Road and East Fairview Avenue, a time when many people are out eating dinner and enjoying their night.
I had some friends that were walking across the street, and I think everyone's reaction was just to kind of duck to the ground because no one knew what exactly was happening.
Madison Fail heard the gunfire from where he lives in Cloverdale and says this is rare. He is amazed no one was hurt.
It had the opportunity of, someone obviously being hurt, but thankfully no one was. El Rey was packed, and the typical Saturday night in Cloverdale, and someone decided to start shooting.
Montgomery police say 4 vehicles were damaged in the gunfight, but this was just the first crime of the night in this neighborhood. And just hours later, late Saturday night, someone broke into the Moe's in Old Cloverdale. The owner tells me they used a brick to bust through the front door.
When 2 or 3 things happen at one time and as severe as they were, it's pretty upsetting.
Surveillance video from Moe's Barbecue shows this crime in action. City Councilman Arch Lee says these crimes need to be taken seriously.
In my view, we've got to get harder on some of this stuff and just start cracking down and having a zero tolerance even on some of the smaller stuff.
What will you? What can you do about this?
Well, the first thing you can do is vote, because we have a very important mayoral and municipal election coming up right now, and I think that's very important, and you have to look at the candidates that are talking about crime.
Both incidents leaving many people in Cloverdale on edge. It's tough to look at this land behind me and realize that there were 2 homes sitting here before the storm. Now what's left of those homes is just debris scattered in the trees, and the people who live here have an amazing story of survival.
Bless your heart, I'm so sorry.
The first of many hugs for Julie Morrison as she comes back to see what's left of her home on Lee County Road 63.
Saw debris flying. He said, "Here it comes, get to the tub." So that's where I went, and he got on top of me.
Her home was destroyed, its contents littered across their land. She was home with her husband Sunday when the tornado whipped through and still can't believe what happened.
It picked our house up, flipped it over. Everything was on top of us.
If you look closely, you can see the bathtub right here. That's where they hid when the storm came through. Now look over there. That's where their house stood before the storm hit. It carried the home and all of their belongings all the way across their front yard.
I just want to cry. I ain't even cried yet, because it's just unbelievable.
Miraculously, she walked away from her home, now destroyed, with nothing more than a bruised shoulder and ribs, knowing many people in her community lost much more than just their homes.
Oh, we're just thankful we're all alive. I know that we made it.
And they were out here for hours today looking to find anything that made it through the storm, and they now begin the cleanup and rebuilding process, which will take some time. Reporting in Lee County, I'm Andrew James, Alabama News Network. I first met James in February of 2017. At the time, he was living in the woods on the banks of the Alabama River. Today, he and his wife have a home and have completely turned their lives around. James Spedding spends most of his days painting homes for families to move into. But not too long ago, this was the place James called home, a group of tents along the banks of the Alabama River, known by many as Camp Hope.
We've come a long way since then.
A long way may not fully capture the transformation James and his wife made in less than 2 years, and it came with more valleys than mountaintops.
It was tough. Trying to keep our faith was the hardest part, because you try so hard and it seems like you just spinning tires, not getting anywhere.
About a year ago, James and his wife took the big step and moved into a home of their own, a step made possible by some help along the way.
God put all the players into place that was needed to assist James to get from where he was to where he wanted to be.
Patrick Aitken of River City Church has helped James along the journey out of homelessness, and he tells me the transformation he's seen has been nothing short of amazing.
He has the self-respect back. You know, having a roof over your head and being able to provide for your wife it's just helped him tremendously.
Now James is taking the help he received and paying it forward. He's an active church member and a leader in homeless outreach programs, because while his life has changed drastically, the memories are still strong.
I'll never forget where I was, and I'll never forget about the people that helped me get out of there, and now it's my time to try to give back to them.
James tells me he lived in the tent for close to 2.5 years and hopes others can be inspired by his story.